Well, Jay, I think it's time for you just to go ahead into your presentation, let everybody know what you're going to talk about, and go right into it.
Okay. All right, folks. So welcome to another session with me. Now, in the previous session, and hopefully many of you are returning, I gave you an overall overview about what we do with web development, which includes a lot of things like front-end, back-end databases. I just gave you like an idea, a glimpse into that world. But today, I am going to focus on one aspect of it, which will be front-end development. Now, I only have an hour to spend with you, so I won't be able to go deep into anything, but I should be able to give you like an idea of where you can start. As the professor was saying, ultimately, it is all about trying to self-learn. So my plan today is to give you those highlights, like a bullet point of things you need to go. And as I'm talking, I'll be sharing a lot of resources in the chat, and I'm sure Ricardo will also double up on that. So that's what we are planning to do today. I'm going to be talking about front-end development, the tools we use for it, the languages we use for front-end development, what are the supporting facilities that you need to know, what are the resources you can find online on your own, and how and where you can find help. The good thing about software development is it is a very, very young industry. It's only 30 or 35 years old. Like if you talk about civil, construction or civil engineering, people have been building homes for thousands of years, but computers, they're very new. It's only 30 years, 30 plus, that's it. So there's a lot of people out there like me, you can get help for free. So I'm going to talk about those things as well. So let me get started with the very first thing you have to do when it comes to front-end development. And the very first thing you're going to do is something which I already showed you last time, which is GitHub. So if you're going to start programming, again, this is applicable to any kind of programming. You are going to start by going to github.com. So I'm just going to open that website here. So let me just get that window on my screen. I have two monitors here, so please don't think I'm ignoring you. So there you go. So I have github.com. So I'm going to put that here in the chat box. So folks can just try it out. That will be your first step. So if you want to be a developer, you're going to start by creating an account for yourself on this website, github.com. Oh, that's me. That's just me. Yeah, there you go. So you're going to try and use GitHub. This is like it is a repository of all your code. So what this does is it is a repo. We call it repository of all the code you are going to write. Okay, and then another thing is this is
Jay, can I ask real quick? Is there any other service that does the same thing as GitHub, or that's the universal service?
So it is like the big fish, the shark of code repositories. We have other services like Bitbucket. So there's another company which does the exact same thing. And I believe we also have somebody called Kraken, if I'm not wrong. I think it's a Kraken Git, some lesser known. Yeah, there it is. Oh, it's a client. It's not a real thing. So I would say, so right now, this is like a distant second, Bitbucket. But the big one is GitHub. In fact, they are celebrating 100 million developers this month. So, so whoever is a developer in the world, I'm sure everybody is here already. So the monopoly has been established, whether we like it or not. But yes, there is Bitbucket, if you want an alternative or something. And let's not forget, Professor, that these things, they are all open source. And if you really want to keep everything private, you can run your own GitHub in your home. So nobody can access it outside your house if you really want to. Like you're working on a secret project, like companies, they host their own, code servers. So they don't have to share with the companies or anybody. So you always have those private options with all these features. So there is always that option, sir. So first step, my friends, start by creating an account on GitHub, and then you'll have to learn how to use GitHub. Now, what I will do is I do have a video on how to set up GitHub on your computer. So let me just, because I can't show the whole thing today, but I can give you, hold on guys, I'll get you the link from my channel. That has a option where you can go ahead and there it is, there you go. Share, get the link. Okay, I put that in the chat. Okay, that's actually a video from me, which I made just for fun. So that will teach you how you could go ahead and create your own GitHub account. Oh, something is happening. Somebody is not muted. Hold on. Trying to mute everybody. 1 second. There we go. Okay, thank you, Professor. So there you go, my friends. So that's the first thing. Start with GitHub. I would love to show how to do it, but we don't have the time right now. So I have a video there. It's a very long video, about an hour or so. So it's pretty detailed. That's the first thing you'd have to do. Start with GitHub. That is where you begin your development journey. Now, right after you finish with setting up GitHub, you also need to learn how to use Git Bash. So I'm going to reduce the font on this one. So the second thing you want to do is learn how to use Git Bash. Okay, so for this, I'm going to get some drawings running here. Now, please understand that GitHub is the online code repository, whereas Git Bash is the tool on your computer that you are going to use to interact with your GitHub. To give you an everyday example, like right now, I am talking to you. So Zoom server is somewhere, and I'm able to use Zoom app to talk to you folks, and you are able to see this session through the app on your computer. So similarly, the GitHub server is the main thing on the cloud, and we use this client called as Git Bash, which will help you interact with GitHub from your development machine. And the details about Git Bash is already included in that video I shared with you. So that link will take care of teaching you how to install GitHub, how to create the account, how to configure it, and also some basic usage about Git Bash as well. So that would be the very first step. If there are any questions, I can pause here for a second before I go to the second item on my list. Professor Ricardo, any questions?
We do have
thank
two
you,
hands
Jay.
up.
Yeah, there's a couple hands up. Go ahead.
If you want, Jay, do you want to go to some of the questions?
Oh, any quick questions from you and Ricardo? Student questions I can take at the end, if that's all right.
Yeah, okay, then we'll have the people who have their hands up right now, Esho David and Techno Spark. Just wait until the end of the presentation to ask your questions, okay?
You
Okay,
can also put them in the chat, and if it's a relevant question, Edward or I will ask the presenter. That will keep it organized. Thank you, guys.
Yes,
thank you.
yes. Okay, so moving on, that will be the first step for you. Now, from then we come to the second main tool that you'll use, and that would be VS Code. The second thing you need, let me get the markers out of my way. The second step for you will be what is called as VS Code. Now, VS Code is actually a tool. I'm just going to send the link here for VS Code. Okay, now when we are doing any sort of front-end development, we need what is called as a text editor. Now, there are several text editors, but once again, a monopoly has been established, and VS Code is the ultimate text editor that you can use for your coding purposes. So I'm going to put this link as well in the chat box. And so that is the editor which we are using. And I will be opening that right now. So you can see here, this is how VS Code would look once you have installed it on your computer. Now, there are other editors. I think there's an editor called Atom. Let me just see if I can find it here. Atom editor, there you go, the hackable text editor. That's another editor you can use to write your code. Oh, it looks like they retired it. Oh, that's bad. Looks like VS Code is taking over, guys. I'm sorry. So there you go, guys. So the editor that you would use for front-end development would be VS Code. And this is where we'll write our code. And in web programming, we are mainly concerned with 3 languages, which is HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. And all 3 of these languages are supported natively by VS Code. Plus, you will have to use what is called as an extension called as live server after you install VS Code. So when you want to begin programming in HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, first step, install VS Code. And after that, you are going to try and install an extension called live server. And that is how you're able to practice these 3 languages. And I will be showing how to use that in a minute or so. So you will know what I'm talking about. But before we jump into VS Code, there's one more thing I want to tell future front-end developers. There is another facility for you, and that is called as CodePen. So once again, that is a website online. So just like GitHub. So you go online and search for CodePen, and I'm going to go ahead and put that link also in my chat box here. So there you go. Now, this is actually a fascinating thing about front-end development. See, in the olden days, if you had to practice programming, you had to install all the tools, probably spend a day or 2, sometimes even 3 days, just to get all the things working, just to see a simple hello world output. But when we talk about front-end development, you don't need to install any doubts at all. I mean, any tools at all. You can literally start practicing JavaScript, HTML, and CSS directly from your browser. So before I show you VS Code, I want to show you this so that those of you who may find all this VS Code and things like that a little intimidating on your first day, but you still want to get your hands dirty with some HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, I would strongly recommend you jump right away to CodePen. Now, once you go to the CodePen website, I'm already signed in, so I'm going to show you how it looks when you visit it for the first time. So it would look something like this. So it'll ask you to sign up or sign in. There you go. It looks something like this. And you can see here, it says sign up or log in. I would suggest you don't sign up because you already have your GitHub account and you can directly log in with your GitHub account. Now, this is why I tell all my developers, whether you're doing front end or back end or databases, it doesn't matter. GitHub is like the universal passport for all your developer services. So always start with your GitHub account and then just come to codepen.io and then go ahead and just log in with your GitHub account. I'm already logged in, so I'm not able to show you how I would log in. And once you log in, you will come to a page which looks like this. So I'm assuming a professor and recorder okay, I think you guys are clear so far. Right, okay, all right, okay. So now going then, so before I show you how you code on VS Code, which is a little bit intimidating because you have to install things and all that. First, let me show you how you do a simple HTML, JavaScript, and CSS on CodePen. So on the left side, you have this option here, and all you have to do is just click on it. You don't need to do anything else. There you go, that's it. When you talk about front-end development, we only need 3 things, 3 files, HTML file, CSS, and JavaScript. So you have the HTML section here. You can see the cursor blinking. You have the CSS section here, the cursor blinking, and you have the JavaScript section here, and the cursor is blinking. So when you start, you will obviously start with HTML. Now, I don't remember all the HTML code I want, so what I'll do is I'll make my life a little easy. So I'm going to go back to my account. And what I do is I do have a ready-made CodePen for today's session. So I'm going to go here, and here's a very simple HTML, CSS, JavaScript for you. So what all it does is you can see here, HTML at the end of the day is all about tags. Let me see if I can zoom in. There you go. So HTML is all about tags. And the simplest thing you need to remember is in HTML, you have the opening tag, and for every opening tag, you have a closing tag. And like that, what we do in HTML in a website is we start by building the structure using these HTML tags. For instance, I have this tag called H1. And just to give you a small idea of what happens, so if I take this line here and add a second H1 tag and save this, I will immediately get the output. There you go. That is how we would use HTML. And now let's say now I want to do something with CSS. So CSS is kind of like how something looks. So if I have to use an example, HTML is like a skeleton. Imagine in a lion or something. So you're trying to build a lion, then the skeleton of the lion would be HTML. And then you want to start painting the lion, give it hair, give the hair some color, skin some color, eyes some color. Those are all things which happen with CSS. It's right there in the title, CSS, cascading style sheets. So we are applying style, we are applying our makeup to the website. That is where all the colors and all those things come to your website. So just to illustrate that point, I'm going to go to CSS and I'll select the CSS and I'm going to remove it. And now there you go, that's it. The styling is gone. The colors are gone. The sentence was like exactly in the center. It was looking good. There you go. That's the styling. So I put it back in. I save the file. Boom. Styling is back. So that is the makeup part of it. It's like when you get up in the morning, and I mean, maybe it doesn't apply to guys, but I'm just saying, so that's styling for you, right? So finally, JavaScript. So this is the big one. So JavaScript is actually the brain of your line. So you have a strong skeleton, you have all the makeup and stuff, but ultimately the JavaScript is what allows your lion to move around, hunt for animals, do the lion's roar and stuff like that. All that action is being done by JavaScript. So I'm not gonna, I won't be able to show anything actually in JavaScript today, but I can show a simple output. So if I go to console right now, you can see here that output is coming from JavaScript. So if I write another simple line of JavaScript like war, roar, and I'm going to just say the lion is roaring. So let's say that's an action and I want to make that an output. So I will do something like roar. And now if I check the console, it will say the lion is roaring. So that is the power of JavaScript. So JavaScript will go ahead and it will make your web app do things. So these are the three things when it comes to front-end development. Now, before I jump into VS Code, I do want to share some basic resources that you can go to start learning these things like right away. So the very easiest place for you to go is this amazing website, W3 Schools. Now, I will not recommend this to professional developers because as you can see, it's very simplistic, but it is a good starting point. Okay, so it's a good starting point for you to just go. On the top left corner, you have a section called tutorials. They go into every topic under the sun as far as HTML and CSS and JavaScript is concerned. So I'm going to put this link in the chat here so that it can be shared. So this will be your first step or one of your many steps. Now I'm going to share with you another resource, a little bit more classy, a little bit more modern. This is the one which I use in my own personal tutoring and all that. I mean, that's what I do. I'm a professional tutor. I use this as my syllabus. So this entire website, there are two things. This will be for HTML and CSS. I'm putting this in the link in the chat. And the second link is for JavaScript. So these are the two things you would have to learn if you're going to become a developer. And I can say with confidence that if you are planning for a career in programming, and for whatever reason, if you're not able to go through the traditional learning process of a university and stuff like that, then simply finishing these two self-learning courses is enough for you to jumpstart grab your first developer job. I can say with confidence that they have shared everything which you must know to become a developer, at least as an intern or a first-time job. And after that, who knows what will happen? So that's entirely up to you. But one thing though, please understand that it will take anywhere from 200 to 600 hours to finish these two courses. Please understand that computer science is like any other profession or career. It takes years of practice, weeks and weeks and worth of effort. Just because you go to YouTube and you see a video called Learn React.js in 6 hours doesn't mean you can learn React.js in 6 hours. That's impossible. If that was the case, then no, I'm sorry, I don't have a response to that. So please understand that programming, like any other profession, requires a sense of dedication and effort. So if you're going to follow this course, then please set aside, map your life 200 to 600 hours. Now, why is there a big gap like 200 to 600? Because the thing about programming is it requires you to think, logically, but it also forces you to think practically. Right now, you could be a very smart chess player, but that does not make you a smart guy in real life, because you're not able to apply your chess skills to real life matters. So same thing with programming. So if you're a smart kid who can apply basic policies and basic principles, then you will learn programming really, really fast. But if you're more like an intelligence person, but you're always failing to apply your knowledge to real world situations, then you may struggle to learn programming. So that is why I'm giving it like a huge gap of 200 to 600 hours. And if you're asking how many hours do you study in a week, like if you want to do this, set aside 10 hours. That is what I would ideally recommend. And please don't learn coding every day like some kind of a gym membership. Please don't do that. Study for 3 days or 4 days, and then go let your mind absorb things, go take a break and come back. So spend 2 or 3 days every week in programming, take a break, come back. Study 2-3 days continuously, take a break, come back. So if you can compress 10 hours every week with some gap in between, I don't see why once you finish these things, you can't be a front-end developer. So that is the key resources. And of course, I myself have my own resource. If you want to hang out with me, I have a Discord channel. I don't know if you guys use Discord. If you don't, you should. A lot of developers hang out and use Discord a lot. I have my own Discord student club. I think I have a link here. Hold on, I'm going to get you the link. You can always
yes, please. I had a chance to take a look at it. I really like the different tutorials that you have. So please share all your channels and your Discord. That would be great. I think the students would love to have access to those and continue to see your logic of teaching. Thank you.
So this is the one, guys. So this is my own personal, everybody's welcome student congregation, if I can call it. And here I have a discussion forum so people can come, ask questions, get them answered and stuff like that. And I also have a Q&A kind of forum, so you can come here, ask questions and stuff like that. So that is link number 1. The second link is I have my Discord server where students can just come and ask questions. Yeah, there it is. So this is my Discord. So let me just show you how it would look for those who are completely new to Discord. This is how Discord looks. And it would look something like this. So once you're signed in and come to my server, it will look something like this. And we have like a community where I'm always sharing tutorials, YouTube videos, stuff like that. And students ask questions and I answer them. I'm hanging on Discord most of the time. So these are the 3 resources I would like to share with you. 2 of them are from the website from someone else. I have used them personally for the last 10 plus years. The Discord thing is my own thing. A lot of tutors do this. Almost all tutors have a Discord server. This is mine. So if you don't like my style, of course, there are always hundreds of tutors online who run their own private Discord servers where the best part is, even if I don't answer something, there are always other interested students who will discuss with you and you may make friends all over the world, because people like me, we get students from all over the world. So, it's like a cosmopolitan center. So there you go, guys. So That's about the resources and CodePen. Now, the next thing what I want to do is I want to jump to VS Code, show you guys how I would write some simple HTML and then run it on my machine, because that is the first step you want to do when you're doing front-end development. Any questions from Ricardo or Professor?
No questions. Flowing really well.
Okay, all right then. I'm just worried I'm going too fast because there's so much to cover. I'm afraid that I might go too fast and then there is so much time left. So, all right, so okay, it's an interesting problem to have. So either you have too much time.
We're good. Yeah, I think today's your most challenging class because you had a very ambitious list of topics.
Yes.
But I think the next sessions we're gonna do a deeper dive, like on one topic, so that way we won't feel so rushed. But yeah, today's very ambitious.
Yes. It's like when you drop like tennis balls on the floor, you're trying to catch all of them before your mom comes to the room or something. So, okay, all right. So there you go, folks. So now this is the last thing I want to show today. After this, there are some more things I want to show, but this is the one which I really want to show. So I can go a little slow here, and Ricardo can tell me when the time is up. So I'm now in the last final thing I want to discuss. And of course, as I'm talking, I'll divert away to something related and come back. So I think students are used to that by now. So guys, first step when you get VS Code, please remember to sign in once again your GitHub account. So you can see that this GitHub account is, as I said, it's a passport for your developer work. So please remember to not try any of these things until you have GitHub, please. Please get your, I can't stress that enough. And also, every time as a person creates a GitHub account, they seem to do it in a rush, at least in my experience, in all these years of experience, they keep misplacing the GitHub password. Please don't be that person. Write down your password in a notebook. If you're at your home, just give that password to your mom. She'll keep it extremely safe. She will never lose it. Your moms are the best password keepers. I'm telling you from experience. It's a good thing and a bad thing, but you can't help it. So there you go, my friends. GitHub is your deal. It keeps coming back wherever I go. So first step number one, when you install VS Code, sign in with GitHub, everything gets synced, very important. Oh, since I'm talking about that, if you are a serious developer, please remember that you need to have a second computer. Very, very important. You buy a shiny new computer for a college or something, have a second machine, a used machine, or your dad's machine, or your mom's machine or something. Please remember, if you're a real developer, if you really respect being a developer, make sure you have two computers. And as I've mentioned many times, let me just show you. Remember to have two monitors. Okay, let me just get the camera here. So remember to have two monitors, very important. I hope you guys can see it here. If you are a developer, make sure you have two monitors, especially for front-end development, and make sure you have a regular size keyboard and none of that laptop keyboard nonsense. I'm sorry for calling it nonsense. I don't think it's nonsense, but I'm just telling you, if you're going to be a front-end developer, make sure you have a full-sized keyboard and a full-sized mouse as well. And obviously, you need to have a big desk because you'll have notebooks and whatnot spread around. I know it's not related to coding, but it makes your life better. So just some, what do you call it, life hacks. So, when you're running programming, it's not just about your brain. It's also about the space you are in to do coding. For example, when you're learning coding, if you don't take breaks every 90 minutes, by the time you're my age, your back will be dead. Right now, my back is dead because nobody told me about it. So my back is gone even though I'm only 40. So please take breaks every 90 minutes. When you're coding, drink lots of water, okay? Always have a water bottle filled with lots of water because programming drains your head. Now, let's come back to the coding then, right? So VS Code. So what you do is, step number one, make sure you fix one folder on your computer. So if I go here on your machine, make sure you fix one specific folder on your computer for all your repositories. Okay, so and today when the students buy a new computer, it will obviously have OneDrive installed, which is actually a bit of a problem for developers because when you're building a project, even a simple project will have hundreds of files. So if you're keeping your code on OneDrive, then OneDrive will try to sync all those hundreds and thousands of files every second. because these files are changing every second. So what I recommend today's students, because of this OneDrive problem, is keep your files in the videos folder. That is option number one. Okay. Another option is if your computer already has a second drive, please keep your code in a second separate drive. Okay, if you don't do it, it's not the end of the world. But if you keep it in your main computer, normally students, they keep their code in documents or something, which is linked to OneDrive. So what happens is every second, thousands of files are being synced and uploaded again and again, because when you're coding, all these files are changing every second. So OneDrive is on a never-ending cycle of syncing, and that will slow down your internet, slow down your computer. And especially if you're from India or Bangladesh or an Asian nation, where internet is already a problem and your computer is probably a budget laptop or something, it will slow down the whole thing. You could be spending up to an hour just waiting for things to pick up. So please remember to do this very simple thing. Keep your code in videos. It's a matter of practicality. Or make sure your computer has a second drive, but most people can't afford a second drive. So just keep it in videos, because videos is a folder which does not get synced automatically to OneDrive. So that's a quick tip from me as a developer. So moving on then. So first you pick a location like videos. Now you can see already on my computer, all the projects I'm working on, each of them are a separate GitHub repository. So when you're learning programming, hopefully you'll go to that video and you will start having a separate repository for every topic that you are learning. So you're learning front-end development, then there you go. You would have a repository called front-end development. Like for example, mine is called Bootstrap Expert. That was created like many years ago when I was not an expert yet. So I was hoping to become an expert. So I created a repository called Bootstrap Expert, and that's been with me for many years right now. And I have another one called Node.js Private, where I practice some backend code before I take a session for my students. So like this, for every topic that you're trying to do, so front-end development, you would keep a repository on GitHub, and then you would do what is called as cloning, which is described in that video. And I will do a cloning right now. In fact, it's not that hard. So what I'll do is I'll go to my github.com. Now, let's say I am beginning front-end development learning today for the first time, and I figured out how to use GitHub. So that part is done. So all I do is I go to my profile, and probably your profile would look very new. Also, please guys, if you create an account, make sure you put a nice photo, let people know how you look as a developer, right? Don't leave that default animated, some nonsensical photo. Don't do that. Come on, it's just your face. So please put a nice photo on your GitHub, all right? So coming back, let's say I'm starting a new. So I'll go to my top right corner, click on plus, new repository. And then I'm gonna give it a name, learning front end. I'm gonna call it Jan 2023, there you go. I can give a description like I have started my learning of front end, there you go, journey. Okay, you can make it public if you don't mind people seeing what you're up to, but I'll make it private, And then there's an option called README. I'm going to enable it. It's useful. And because I'm doing JavaScript, there's an option called Node. We'll put that option. And then license, it doesn't matter. It's private. And then I'm going to create a repository. So this would be my very first step before I want to practice on my computer. Now, next step, I want to clone this. That video link I sent you, it has all the explanation why, what it is, what this is. So I'm going to skip that part. So I'm just going to go directly to cloning, and then I'll come to my videos folder. Let's see, there you go. My videos folder is here. Now I'll again go to the top. I'll open up my command line, and here I'm going to do a little bit of cloning, which means the online GitHub repository is now on my computer as well. So you can see it here, learning front-end Jan 2023. So I'm going to go inside, I'll right click, and then I'm going to open this in VS Code. So that would be my immediate step on my first day of learning. Now here, all I have to do is go to the left area, and I'll create a new folder. I'll call this Hello World because that is like a standard. I'll create a folder called Hello World. And I need three things for front-end development. I need three files, new file. I need HTML. It is common convention to name your first file index.html. And the second file is going to be style, because CSS. Again, it's convention to call it style.css. And the third file is JavaScript. Once again, the convention is to simply call it script.js. Now, I don't want to type all the code right now because I'm just showing you guys these things. So I'm going to go back to my online demonstration code. I'm simply going to copy paste this specific option. So I'm going to take this. I'll go here and I want to get this HTML. There you go. I'm going to put this HTML here. And I'm going to take my JavaScript from here. I'll put this in the JavaScript file. And then finally, I'm going to take my CSS. I'll take this from here and I'm going to dump this in my style file. Now, before I can run it, there's one last step I have to do. See, when you're practicing online, these files, they're automatically linked. Well, automatically, because that's how the website works. When you're doing it on your machine, you need to link them yourself. You need to put the necessary code to link them. Now, if I go here, I already have the script file which links the JavaScript. So I'm not worried about that. However, my style file is not at link because I don't see any linking code here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to my W3 schools. And if I go to CSS, this guy has an option called how to link your file. So I'm going to go here and there's a small line I need to copy. There it is. This is all I want. So I'm going to take this line from here and I'm going to put this just after the head. So I'm going to put this in head. And now I want to make sure the name matches this name. So I'm going to copy this name, put it here. And now I have my HTML, CSS, JavaScript linked. Okay. And now all I have to do is run this in live server. Remember, I told you in my PowerPoint earlier that to run this thing, you need to get the extension live server. So where are extensions? So that's the thing, isn't it? So on the left side, you have a small icon. See, this is another thing I'll tell you as a tutor. It's very frustrating that every developer tool is filled with hundreds of icons, all of them too small for you to see. So this is another reason why I tell people, if you're going to learn programming, play some video games because you'll get used to these small icons. So you go to extensions and then you have something called live server. That's it. Now mine is already installed. So how will you find it? Go to the search box, the tiny box again, everything is tiny in programming. So search for live server and then you will get it. That's it. Some guy called Ritwik Day has built this some many years ago. And you can see here like some 30, I think it's 3 million. So 3 million people are using it. That's like 3% of developers in the world. So there you go. So very popular tool, live server, install it. And once it is installed, on the bottom right corner, once again, in a very small, tiny icon, you will see that go live button. So once you see that go live button, that means you're all set. And I can tell you from experience, getting that go live button will take a good part of your day. So make sure you're free that day, okay? It's gonna take you all day to make this happen. So don't get frustrated, take a coffee break or something, and then come back and make sure it works. So I have everything set up here. So all I'm going to do is I go here, I take my code, and I will put this on the left side, and then I'll run this project. Now, assuming everything is fine, there it is, boom. That's it. Easy peasy. So same thing you saw online on CodePen is now running on my computer. And once you get this working on your machine, that means you're on the right track. You're ready to go. So that's the first step, HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. After this, the world is your oyster. Yeah, you have the resources, you have the links, start knocking off the chapters one by one and start applying your concepts to projects. Now, before I kind of wrap up here, if you're looking for some demo projects, me and my students, we already have a collection of demo projects that we use for beginners. Let me go ahead and share that link with you. So you're free to use our project. It's totally free. Anybody can use it. And then the best part is if you get stuck, you can ask questions to me or any one of my older students. and we are always happy to help you out. So hold on, let me just show you a collection of, like beginner projects, small projects that you can use. There it is. So this is the link. So I'm gonna put it, there you go. So if you go there, there's a huge collection of show and tell projects. So me and my students, with my other batches from many days, we started showing off our own projects so other students can see and then remix them. So this is the important part in programming. Please don't try to build everything from scratch. It's a mistake from the olden days of learning. That's not gonna fly anymore. There's nothing wrong in taking another person's project and remixing it. Okay, if you don't believe in that, think about all the big companies. Google did not actually build Android. It saw somebody do it. They just bought Android startup company. That's it. They literally did not do Android. Same thing with Microsoft. Windows is not from Microsoft. If I remember the story correctly, they got it from someone else a few months before they sold it as Windows to another company. So people have been copying and then remixing to get what they want for decades now. So in programming, at least, there is no shame in copying as long as you actually remix it. Don't just take something and put your name on it. Don't do that, please. Remix it, add your own value to it, add your own spices and herbs, as we say in India, and make your own dish from someone else's dish. So there you go. If you want demo projects, example projects, I've given you the link. All of that stuff is there online. So yes, I can talk about a few more things, Mr. Ricardo, but I don't know if there's still more time or something.
Yeah, Jay, we've still got about 10 more minutes, so we're good. If you want to cover something else or wrap something else up, we've got a little bit of time.
Yes, of course,
and,
of course.
Maybe we'll let the last 5 minutes, TechnoSpark and Dr. Al Hakimu participate as well.
And there's also a question in chat. So.
Okay. In that case, there's just one last thing I will tell, and then I'll go to the question, Professor. Hopefully that is okay. So folks, whatever you do in all this, eventually, once you learn all these things, ultimately, you will have to learn how to deploy. I showed a demonstration to this in the previous session to Professor, where I was able to make some changes, and immediately the changes were reflected on the website. So please remember, when you are starting off your career, either as a student or you're actually applying for a job and stuff like that, you must be able to share what you're doing with your peers and with your future employers, or simply show off to your friends or something, which is why, once you have a grip on your programming, you start building some projects and things like that. Please spend some time with what is called as GitHub Actions. Now, unfortunately, I don't have any video to share right now, but again, this is something you might do after a month or two of training. By then, you would have enough knowledge to simply come to this website and start doing this deployment things on your own. By then, you would have enough knowledge to be able to do these things simply by going to the website and understanding what this is all about. See, the idea behind GitHub Actions is what we call continuous deployment. The thing is, in the olden days, or even now, when you write a code, a lot of people, they go to the cloud or something like Azure or AWS or something, and they will try to deploy their code manually, which means you are actually literally uploading files by logging in and then uploading files like a zip file or something. Please don't get into that habit. Although it is useful to know how to do that, please try to make or learn automatic deployment using GitHub Actions, which also means if you're going to be a proper developer, you need to learn how to use Azure as well. So I'm going to put these links in the chat box. So this is something you would explore after a month or two when you have a few mini projects to show to other people. Maybe not on first day, but definitely once you have gone past the initial difficulty of building some simple web apps, you would have to know actions, and then you would have to learn how to use Azure. Specifically, you need to learn about Azure web apps. So I'm going to put that link as well. So your coding journey is not going to end until you figure out how to use GitHub Actions and how to use Azure Web Apps. So when you are able to deploy, like I showed in the previous session, like I was able to make some small changes, and immediately, we were able to see it live on a website. When you reach that point is when you can start telling people that you are a real front-end developer. So that is when you know, like, you don't have to ask someone if you're a front-end developer. If you can do that, then you can tell yourself that, yes, you are a front-end developer and you're ready to apply for jobs or work on hobby projects and stuff like that. So that is another thing you want to do. There was one more thing running in my head. Yes. Okay, right. So folks, actually this is something I only learned last week. And it kind of happened because of I'm doing this session. I'm trying to see what else I can do for here. Now I have started, okay, believe it or not, I am actually, as I'm talking to you right now, I've started paying money to AI services to help me coding. And I'm so excited. I actually did not sleep at all last week. It was like being a kid again. I even make a video about it. It's there on my channel. So I already sent you a YouTube link, so just go and check my channel. I did not sleep last week. I did not play video games, or I did not watch movies. I do all those things, not trying to brag or something, but because I'm so old, I work very less. God has given me a good paying profession so I can relax and enjoy, so that whenever I see something exciting, I can chill out. Now, why am I talking about this? So I'll show you right now. Why should I tell you when I can show you, right? So if I go here, I'm going to go to my VS Code and you can see with your own eyes. I'm going to zoom in now. Okay, I'm going to zoom in so all of you can see. And so now you can see here, there's a very tiny icon that looks like a monkey. I don't know if you can see it on the bottom right corner. It looks like a monkey's face, like a monkey skeleton. That's the AI. Okay, that's the subscription I'm paying for. Like $10 every month. It may not sound like much, but in India, $10 is a lot of money. So it is a significant investment for me. So $10 for that AI service. Now check it out. This is what I'm liking it. And it is scary and also very happy at the same time. It's like your first date, like when you're a teenager or something. So it's very scary, but it's very exciting as well. So now look at this. I'm going to say, give me a for loop. And there it is. I didn't do that. The AI is just writing it. See? Look at that. And the best part is, it'll just keep helping me. I can say something like, I want to know about bubble sort. And then the AI is like, hey man, you want a bubble sort? There it is. And because I'm a developer, I know it's correct. And it has become so good. And I'm actually becoming a better tutor. Because the problem with tutors is students assume that I know everything in my head, which is not true.
Can you show us the bubble sort? I think that's that animation with those graphics. Or is that what it is, or is that something else?
That is totally something else, Ricardo. I'm so sorry.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. So I wish, that's actually an idea though. So now I can sit down and make bubble sort using that animation. So that is something that's possible. But now why I'm bringing it up, my friends, is because if $10 is not a big amount for you, I want to tell you guys that I'm not working for GitHub AI. I'm not getting any commission. Okay, please don't think I get like 1 cent for every sale. I'm not doing that. This thing is like your virtual tutor. There's a free trial as well. Just go to the website. I'm going to put that link right now. It's called GitHub Copilot. And I've been using it, on and off for a year, but now I thought the time is right. And I was able to arrange the money as well. Because, these things, subscriptions, you can't just think of them as 1 month. It's like an annual investment. So there you go. This is the link. It has a free month trial. And if you're in a university or if you're a student, I think it's free for university students or something. They have a discount or whatever. So this guy is the AI. Remember the Chat GPT and all that? That is actually, Microsoft recently made like a 10 billion investment in Chat GPT company. And GitHub is from Microsoft. So the Chat GPT company and Microsoft and GitHub, they're all the same now. They are combining their forces to give you the best AI. So when you speak, I'm actually using Chat GPT every day now because it's become so powerful. I'm afraid if I don't use it, I will be left behind. And even though it's only been 1 week, I am saving roughly an hour every day, an hour which I can chill out or learn something new or make extra money or simply, take an afternoon nap. But it's 1 hour saved. So students, especially first timers, give it a try. Give it a try, whatever time you might spend asking a code or a question to a tutor, you don't have to waste that time anymore. The AI is there. So it might, and of course, this will put a lot of tutors out of business. Hey, it's nobody's fault. Tutors have to up their game. I mean, I know I'm a tutor, so I need to up my game now if I'm going to beat this AI. It's okay. That's the price of progress. So that's all the stuff I wanted to say, Ricardo. So that's where I want to stop from my end. So questions, anything, I'm ready now. Yes.
Okay, we're going to go straight into the questions. TechnoSpark 2, you're up first. I asked you to unmute your microphone. Go ahead and unmute your microphone. Let me try again.
And I'm just going to the chat here, Professor. So any quick questions I have to answer, I'll also take care of that. Yes, sir.
Okay, let's go to Dr. Alka Kimo. Alka Kimo. Can you, nope.
Okay, it's mostly hello, hello, hello. I'm just scrolling down. Ricardo, is there anything I missed out? I'm not seeing any.
Okay, let's go to the questions in chat. Fasan Joel, a tutor said that you said that you could use 2 computer systems, but can you use 2 desktop laptops?
Yes. So what I mean, most of the time you would have a laptop. So what I'm suggesting is plug in a monitor to your laptop. So that's what I'm trying to say.
Julius asked, what is the difference between GitHub and what you have discussed with Python and Anaconda?
Right then. So Anaconda, first up, guys, I'm not an Anaconda guy, but I just have general information. So GitHub is a code repository. Think of it like a bank where you keep your money. That's the simple way to understand what GitHub is. Python could be a job that you're doing to earn that money. So just like how a bank is related to your salary or something, Python is simply one of the languages. So if you want to keep your Python code in GitHub, you should be keeping your code, in GitHub. So whether it's Python or JavaScript, so that would be the relationship. They are not related in any way, except in the sense that you can use GitHub to store your Python code.
Okay, here's a good question by Karen Andacruz. What firewall VPN is optimum for using GitHub to avoid computer hang, or is it included in GitHub subscription? Oh,
right then. So ideally, I would not use any of those things for coding and GitHub or anything like that. So you should not be using those things just to access GitHub. So, and also GitHub subscription does not include those things. And there is no such thing called GitHub subscription. So that question is a little confusing for me, Professor. Sorry.
Because you just
they are
set
unrelated,
up an account,
so I don't
right?
know.
You don't have to subscribe. You just set up an account.
It's a free thing. It's like your Facebook account or OneDrive account or Google Drive account. You just start using it. There is no charge for it. The only charge you might have to pay is for the AI thing, like how I'm paying money for it right now.
Catherine Carico, how do we use the AI? There's a question for you.
Right then. So if we're talking about the coding AI that I'm speaking about, this one is coming directly from GitHub. So first step, you would go to this GitHub website and you simply purchase a subscription like you would purchase a Netflix subscription or any other subscription. So I can show you right now, if you go to settings on GitHub.
Say, what is that? It's github.com/features/ what was that before?
Copilot. So they are calling it Copilot because, it's like a virtual friend sitting with you and coding with you. So it's like a Copilot. Play on the word, like a plane or something. So buying it easy, on the left side, you have a billing option. So like how you do on Netflix. So go to billing and then that's it. There's a list of services that you can buy from GitHub. You don't need any of those things. Just scroll down all the way to somewhere you have Copilot with the monkey logo. It still looks like a monkey. I don't know why. I'm sorry. But that's the GitHub Copilot subscription, and you just start paying for it for like $10 a month. That's what it is.
From what I see, that's a little image of a Copilot with one of those pilot goggle things.
That's true, Professor. I kept thinking it's a monkey. I think, you know, as people say, you know, you imagine, you see what you see.
I saw a monkey too.
Oh my God.
And then I had to look closer.
Yeah, it does look like a pilot coming out of a cockpit or something. Okay, yeah. I see it now. Yeah, so there you go. Right then, so guys, subscribing it is very straightforward. Just go to your GitHub account, go to billing and plans, and just you know, as usual you do in America, just enter your card and stuff, and just go for it. But there is a free trial though. I would recommend you try the trial first. Thank you, Jay. And also, Dr. Lambert, looks like Dr. Al-Hakimu was able to unmute. Do you want to go ahead, Dr. Al-Hakimu?
Dr. Al-Hakimu, you are unmuted. If you can actually activate your camera too. Let me see if I can ask you to do that. No, I'm not able to do that. Okay, guys. Well, you might not have accessibility. Okay. Okay, we have another question from Sun. Sir, help me ask, does the tutor mean one CPU and 2 monitors, or 2 CPU and 2 monitors? Oh, right then. So let me do one thing. Let me do like a drawing or something. Hold on, guys. One second. Let me share my screen again. I'm gonna bring up my PowerPoint. So now let's say you have your laptop, right? So you have your laptop. The laptop is also your CPU, so we can think of it that way. Now, what I'm recommending is you get yourself a larger monitor, and you connect your laptop to this monitor, and then you also buy a larger keyboard and a mouse, preferably wireless. They're not that expensive these days in any part of the world. So a wireless keyboard, a wireless mouse, plus a monitor. So what we do is I write my code on this big monitor. I keep it right in front of me, and then I use the small, tiny monitor of the laptop to look at the output. And if you're using a traditional, CPU computer, then instead of your laptop, you would have your CPU, and you would simply purchase a second monitor, and you'll buy a cheaper, tiny monitor to look at the output, and an expensive, bigger monitor to actually do your coding on a daily basis. So it's very important that you have 2 monitors for a front-end developer, or even any developer, because it simply looks cool when you're using 2 monitors. And for the record, whenever I used to work, back when I was younger, I used to work for these contracts and stuff. I would kind of dominate an entire work desk with 4 monitors and totally intimidate everybody in the office, so that they will not bother me when I'm working. 2 of those monitors were simply for appearance sake. So still, you need to show people you're the boss. So anyway. All right, guys, any other questions? Tell me. Nope, I think that's going to do it. Let's wrap up this session, Jay. Excellent, okay. Excellent. Okay. So, folks, there you go. I'm just going to bring back my presentation here, just to wrap up. So today, I kind of went a little bit more in depth compared to last time, focusing only on front-end development. Please remember, whatever programming you do, you always start your journey with GitHub, and then I have sent you a link. Please go through that. It's about an hour's GitHub video. So please remember, every 1 hour of tutoring time is equal to 2 to 4 hours of your practice time. So dedicate 1 day just for GitHub to get a hang of it. And of course, that includes Git Bash as well. And after that, spend a lot of time by logging into CodePen on your computer. Practice. A lot of projects are available on the links I shared with you, on the Discord channel, on my GitHub community. Ask for any projects you want.
and then practice, remix and recycle code on CodePen. And once you're feeling comfortable, come to the last step, which is installing VS Code, sign in with your GitHub account. And if you have the money, just go for the trial version of GitHub AI. I promise you, whatever money you're planning to spend on a tutor or something, you could simply spend it on AI. Try it for a month or so. If it helps, great. And then start practicing your code in VS Code and start doing these 3 things. I've shared you 2 full-fledged websites, WD Schools and Free Code Camp for learning yourself. Please understand, even a basic developer, it may take 200 to 600 hours to learn everything. I'm talking only the basics, please. I'm not even talking about all the advanced stuff you can do in the future. And finally, don't forget about the GitHub Actions and Azure, because whatever you build a few months down the line, you should be able to show it to friends and family. So that is where GitHub Actions and Azure comes into play. And along with that, I shared with you some daily hacks on how to make yourself productive. So hopefully you'll remember those things. So there you go, guys.
Okay, it looks like that's going to do it. Dr.
Thank you,
McKay,
Jay.
do you have any more to say?
No,
That's it, guys. I'm all set.
Just to thank Jay for his second session with us. We're very happy to have you back, and we had even greater participation than the first time. So we're building. A lot of our students are in multidisciplinary, so this might be their first exposure to this, and it's very useful because when they talk to their IT departments, they're going to have a little bit more of a working knowledge in what they're talking about. And we also have a percentage of students who are in programming, in coding. Okay. So they might not be asking too many questions, but this is primarily directed to them. So even though we might get some questions that are kind of from beginners, I think we can go deeper for the benefit of the students in that field, or the ones that will watch the recording subsequently. So let me unmute everyone. So we can all say goodbye and thank Jay for his time today.
One more important question from Siboho. From South Africa, I have a problem connecting to ChatGPT and GitHub. What's the best IP masking tool?
Oh, right then. So hopefully, guys, you can just pay for any one of those VPNs which you may have in your country. If for some reason you're not getting access, any VPN of your choice would do. Any brand, they all use the same backbone, so it doesn't matter.
Fantastic. Thank you, everybody. Great to see you. Thank you, Karen.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Bye, Professor. Bye, guys. Bye, Ricardo.
Bye.
Noel Dar.
That's the presentation.
Priya.